What up, Moist Nation? Welcome to episode 6 of the MicMe TV show, where we do a rotating talk about, current events, different topics, and now we're going to bring on an interview guest.
Heck yeah.
Tell me about, the Carson Scheer 99 and how that kind of turned into Carson Claws.
Yeah. So 2011, I was 12 years old. I was seeing a bunch of, I was obsessed with claw machines and arcade games. And there was a guy, the GOAT in the industry, arcade Matt 3756. He was the guy that kind of started this whole trend of picking up a camera and filming yourself at the arcade, winning a prize from the claw machine. And I was obsessed with them like ever since I was probably 4 or 5 years old. And so, I made a YouTube channel called Carson Scheer 99, really weird, YouTube channel name. And, I remember my first ever video. I was at Las Vegas, Nevada, and I won like this giant pink basketball. That was my first ever video I posted back in 2011. So I was 12 years old. That's when I started. And, me and my buddies, basically like once a week, we would get on FaceTime and we would we were losers at the time. We would talk about what we won at Walmart or the grocery store or whatever arcade we went to. We took our $5-10 in allowance that we got every week from our parents, and we blew it at the arcades. And we would hop on a video chat and we would just showcase what we won from the arcade, and we would usually film it, and we would have different YouTube channels.
So this began as a passion project.
Yeah, it was kind of more of a fun, like, hobby, like, screw it. Like, this big YouTube guy named Arcade Matt. Arcade Matt's the best. And he was a huge inspiration for me. And I give a lot of credit to him, because without him, I wouldn't have this obsession and idea of picking up a camera and somehow filming claw machines all around town. And I remember a lot of my friends made fun of me for it. They're like, why is this guy like filming himself winning a stuffed animal from a claw machine?
Right.
Like, what's the weird
And so
obsession with that?
I know when I met you in that history class, you were Carson Scheer 99.
Yes, that
And
was my
so
YouTube channel
when
name.
did it turn from this passion project into Carson Claws, where you tried to build this thing into something bigger?
So 2 of my good friends, Trevor and Aaron, Claw Kicker and Claw Craziness, 2 other claw machine arcade game YouTubers, we were part of that friend group growing up, where we would hop on a weekly FaceTime video call, and we all had this weird obsession with playing claw machines and arcade games. And Trevor and we both live in Michigan, and Trevor actually saw one of my videos. He recognized me at the grocery store. He's like, wait a
No
minute,
way.
I think that's the Kroger down the street from my house. And he goes, are you on so-and-so street? I'm like, yep, that's the one. And he goes, let's collab together. So that's how Trevor and I kind of met.
Good thing that wasn't a predator.
Yeah. No, but yeah, and then eventually my friend Aaron, he lived in Arizona at the time. He moved to Michigan. And so we were all in Michigan, and we all still had YouTube channels playing arcade games. And one day we just kind of all met up at my house, and we went around town collabing and filming with each other. And I was still called like Carson Scheer 99. Aaron had Claw Kicker. Trevor had Claw Craziness. And I'm like, okay, I got to change my YouTube channel name. I can't have it be Carson Scheer 99. So I went to the movie theater one day. I was walking out of the movie theater, and it just kind of popped in my head, like Carson arcade game, Carson claw machine, Carson Claws.
Carson Claws.
So I just kind of stuck with it.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. So it was probably Carson Scheer 99 for like 5 years, from like 2011 to 2015, 2016. And then I kind of jumped to Carson Claws.
Well, that makes sense, because 2014 was that summer we would have played basketball, or if not, that might have been 2013, but 2015 was when we were talking about YouTube. And so simultaneously, while we met in that history class, you were recording with Trevor and Aaron and figuring out this transition from Carson Scheer 99 to Carson Claws. And once you did that rebranding, is that when you kind of committed to like, hey, I'm going to try to make this something?
Yeah, that's kind of when the gear switch turned on. I remember all 3 of us, Trevor, Claw Craziness, Aaron, Claw Kicker, and myself, we all went out and filmed a bunch of stuff together for like the first time ever. And then my friend Trevor, he won this $500 Visa gift card from a Keymaster machine. And we all got back at the house, like after we're done filming, and we all looked at each other and we're like, I think we got something going here.
Yeah.
Just goosebumps just talking about it. And so we just locked in, like we started collabing every single week. We grinded it out, just did straight up YouTube for, gosh, from like 2017 to 2019, like pretty hardcore, like all in, like four videos a week. We traveled all over the country and did our thing.
And so you started that really at like 15, 16?
Yeah, I really got more serious about it right around senior year of high school. Yeah, 2016, 2017, I remember we were like still in high school, senior year of high school, and then Jimmy was curious about like what I was doing. So he's like, okay, I want to start up my own YouTube channel and do the A&J show where you had a buddy of yours, Alec.
He's part of the boys.
He's part of the boys. Shout out to Alec.
Shout out boys.
And yeah, you guys did that for a bit. I remember Trevor made your guys' little intro. It was like an A&J green intro with the orange letters.
Right.
And then yeah, we did a couple skits together on your channel. We did the Justin Bieber parody song.
Yep.
And yeah.
If anybody wants to see some fun videos of Carson Claws back in the day, what were you put a wig on, didn't you? And
yeah, I put a tiara on my head and danced around like a moron. It was a good video though.
Because he was the baby that Justin Bieber was singing to.
Yeah, and Jimmy was chasing after me. And then Alec was rapping in the background.
When I was 13, I had my first love, or crush, or whatever it is.
But yeah, and then basically like Jimmy was curious, so I said, Jimmy, why don't you come on a Claw Machine film trip with me, Aaron, and Trevor, and Trevor's dad, and it was all of us together going around town, and then that's when Jimmy started kind of transitioning into arcade content, but at the same time, Jimmy was like, I don't know if this is for me, like I'm cool hanging out with you guys, but I admit like arcade games are expensive, like that's a costly project because there's a lot of dollar bills you're shoving into claw machines all day long, and you know you're worrying about like the views and if the video is going to do well, is it worth the cost of entry? But we had a good time together. So.
But what was really to your advantage was like it was such a niche, and at that time there weren't that many people doing it.
Right. There weren't that many people doing it. There was about maybe 10 big YouTube channels in the arcade community doing it. And not only that, 2016, 2017, YouTube was like, I mean, it is still the king of the crop, but when people wanted to watch a video, they went to YouTube.
Right. There wasn't TikTok.
There wasn't TikTok. There wasn't really Instagram. There was Facebook kind of floating about here and there. But yeah, all the traction was from YouTube.
Right. Yeah. No, very interesting. And so you talk about how from 2016, 17 to 2019, you were really pumping out these videos and going hardcore on the arcade content. And then something happens. We get this COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
And so talk to me a little bit how COVID led to this transition for you from Carson Claws to exploring new avenues of content like Ticket Time.
Sure. Yeah. So, you know, me and Trevor and Aaron are still, you know, close friends with Trevor's dad, Mr. Donner, and we still do our arcade thing on the side. And it's still kind of a fun thing that we do. But I'm more focused on other projects that I'm working on right now. So 2020 happens, COVID happens. I'm biking back from class at Michigan State, and everybody gets this alert on their cell phone like, hey, you guys are gone, get off campus because we got this COVID virus going around. And yeah, that's when Michigan went on full lockdown mode, and all of the businesses, all the arcades shut down. And so we had no place to film videos anymore because everything was closed in Michigan. You either had to go out of state or out of the country to film something because Michigan was totally on lockdown. So I remember going over my buddy Aaron's house right around 2020, 2021 area. And, you know, he shows me this casino on his laptop. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And there's this game called Crash, and it's a casino game, and you have to guess when the line is going to stop or crashes. And so me and my buddy Trevor, we had another YouTube channel we were doing before COVID called Ticket Time.
Right.
And we did scratch-off tickets, lottery tickets, did that for a couple years. And then Trevor kind of handed me the keys to Ticket Time because he had other projects going on. And so Ticket Time was fun, but it was very boring, just scratching and doing the same thing over and over and over again, scratching lottery tickets, getting the same results. And I went over Aaron's house one day, and I'm like, I wonder if people on Ticket Time would like casino content.
And it just happened to work out because at that time there were a lot of arcades that were closed and like
Correct.
different places where you'd get lottery tickets that were closed. So doing it online was a better alternative.
Yeah, and especially when COVID happened, a lot of the casinos were closed too.
Right.
So the in-person casinos stopped, but these online casinos exploded. So I jumped on that pretty quickly, and so now I'm kind of focusing on. I work for a casino right now, so I've been doing that, streaming with them for a couple years now.
Yeah.
So
And I'm sorry, not to backtrack
Yeah,
too
yeah,
much,
yeah.
but you said you did Carson Claws really hardcore until 2019 when you had this transition kind of to more content and Ticket Time. When did Ticket Time begin?
Ticket Time started 2018.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you started that before the COVID
Before
lockdowns.
COVID, yeah.
With Trevor, who's Claw Craziness.
Correct. We had another YouTube channel called Ticket Time, which still is active, and we did scratch off tickets. So we were doing the arcade stuff and the lottery tickets at the same time.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Okay. And then how did live streaming come into play with all this? Because live streaming is the main way that you go about your Ticket Time content, right? And so how did that come to be? Did Carson Claws prepare you for this? And yeah, just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So you know, doing Carson Claws, I did kind of these game show live streams where I was in the basement and we had like this wheel set up, and every time somebody donated, I spun the wheel and they got a prize, and I wrote down everybody's names on the whiteboard, and we did like this kind of like a game show host kind of vibe. So I was already kind of accustomed to doing live streaming all the time and just kind of naturally comfortable speaking in front of a camera. So that did help me prepare for when I was going to go to Ticket Time, because I already had that experience with the YouTube stuff, with filming all the videos. And then when we were doing arcade videos, we did like weekly live streams every now and then as well, just us at the arcade goofing off.
Right.
So if I had to guess, I mean, I've probably done over 500 to 1,000 live streams.
Do you have a preference on making videos or live streaming?
I think live streaming is my my passion. I love live streams because you can engage directly with the viewer as it's happening live. With a video where it's kind of predetermined, pre-thought out in advance, and you're kind of recording it, you can respond to comments, but live streaming is cool because you can engage and talk to your fans in the exact moment that you're broadcasting.
Interesting. So you think if the content is more focused on the viewer, it's better for live streams, and if it's more and say if the content's more like a message you're trying to say or whatever, or something that's already like curated, it would be the video.
For sure. Yeah. You know, I think it's a good combination balance between both. There's pros and cons to both. But I think live streaming is my favorite because it's real time. It's happening right in front of your face. There's no script that I'm going off of. It's just my show. Nobody can tell me how to run my show. It's my own live stream, like kind of like how you're doing your podcast. Like nobody can tell you what to say and do. And that's why I love it so much, because I tried out journalism at college in Michigan State, and the people were great. They were awesome. But there was a certain way that they produced things that I felt like lacked freedom of speech, which is a big deal to me.
Yeah.
So that's why these podcasts, the live streams, I think are fantastic, because it's more of a relatable experience instead of reading it off of a teleprompter.
Right. You're talking off your head. You're really you're really sharing like your experiences and your feelings rather than writing it down, you know, thinking about the response, you know, the whole time you're making it.
For sure.
So it's interesting. Live streaming is what you say your passion is, because I want to talk a little bit about the Carson Scheer Show, which is your what you told me your passion project, but it's shorts, not streams,
right?
So how did that come to be?
Yeah. So you know, on the side, I'm a co-host on one of my other friends' sports talk shows, the K&K Sports Talk Show. I've been a co-host for them since 2020, just doing like weekly shows with my friends. And they actually asked me, they're like, "Hey, Carson, if you ever want to run your own show on our YouTube channel, you're more than welcome to do it." And I'm like, "Okay, bet. But I think I'll start my own YouTube channel."
Right.
So yeah, you know, I've been a diehard sports fan. Jimmy is, you know, the boys are, and I've always had this passion of this dream of becoming a broadcaster. Tried it out in Michigan State, the journalism route. Just wasn't really my cup of tea, just because of how picky they were on like the English and the format and the structure of how you present things. So yeah, the Carson Scheer Show, YouTube and TikTok. I basically react to any big sports event that happens, mostly Detroit sports, but anything big that happens, I give my 2 cents and react to it. So I'm trying to grow that, and that's eventually kind of where I want to put all my eggs in that basket, is because that's what I want to do.
And is there a
So.
reason you're making shorts and not streaming for that?
Yeah, I think it's quicker, it's easier, it's what the people want. It's just a minute or less, get to the point, it's relatable. And especially with news and games and scores, you gotta have to be on top of it, because if
Right.
you wait too long, the next Tiger game is gonna happen, the next NBA game is gonna happen. So if you get too far behind, there's a lot more prep. In preparation, if you want to do like a video or a live stream where there's more of a thought process into it.
Right.
Where shorts, I can just pick up my phone and just react to a
Yeah.
minute, get my thoughts out, and
I'd be
go from
interested to
there.
hear your like right after the game live stream for 20-minute
Sure.
reaction.
Yeah.
Because I listen to like What's Right with Nick Wright, and
Mhm.
I'm forgetting the channel name, but this Jason guy. I watch a lot of sports talk, and one of the things they'll do is like no planning at all, just go live right after a game
Yeah.
and just do initial reactions,
Mhm.
and that's always fun.
For
But
sure.
but yeah, I think what you're saying is definitely true. You know,
Mhm.
it's like building an audience. I don't know if do you think to build an initial audience, shorts is the best way to do it rather than live streaming or posting videos?
Wow, that's a good question. It depends on your niche. I think there's different vibes for different content. If you're trying to start off brand new, fresh as a shorts creator, you're gonna get the views here and there, but you're gonna have less of a community, because it's one of those things where they tune in, they swipe away, and they never see you again. And then and they can follow if they want. I've had more of kind of a community, if you will, more on TikTok than I have on YouTube, because shorts is kind of a weird, like, first time eyeball, you see it, then you leave, versus coming back again. There are
Right.
some channels like that. But yeah, I think for new creators, if you can, it's hard to do it, but videos are the way to go, because you can build up that community, and then especially live streams, because you can connect with them on the spot as it's happening. Like if you have a question, Q&A, hey, Jimmy's in the chat, hey Jimmy, what can I answer
Right.
for you? You have that direct
So if you're looking
connection.
to build a community from the ground up, you think videos and live streams are the best.
Correct.
And if you're looking to get eyeballs on, you would say shorts.
Correct. I would say that.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, no,
Mhm.
that's very interesting.
Mhm.
We talked a little bit about I think all of your stages of YouTube. We talked about Carson Scheer 99, how that kind of led to Carson Claws, how you making videos with Trevor and Aaron led to Ticket Time, how COVID led to like this expansion of Ticket Time with live streaming and stuff, and how did COVID have anything to do with the Carson Scheer Show, or is that just kind of something you've been bouncing around?
That's just kind of something I was kind of bouncing around in my head. I've been working on that for 2 or 3 years now, the Carson Scheer Show. But yeah, like I said, everything I owe to Carson Claws, because without that, I don't have any other projects, or I give a lot of that. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, we were in our heyday primes, 2017 to 2019 era, and there's still a great amount of people that tune in to watch my content. I appreciate the heck out of them. But I know it won't be the big viral thing that it once was. We're just kind of enjoying it more as a fun hobby thing to do. I'm posting a bunch of shorts, 2 shorts a day right now on YouTube, Facebook, Carson Claws. And it's cool because I can kind of relive those memories from years ago when we shot all that content, and then make them into like a highlight for new viewers to watch.
Right. So Carson Claws, Ticket Time live stream, and the Carson Scheer Show. Where do you see these 3 channels going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. So I don't think I'm ever going to stop Carson Claws. I love doing it. It's kind of where it all started. I told myself I'm always going to make content in some way, shape, or form, because that's where everything started for me. It came from Carson Claws. And then, Ticket Time, I'm going to rock it out, with the casino content, for a couple years, and, hopefully we can keep it running, but that's up to, the fate and the gods of the universe, if they want me to go that direction or not. And, the sports show, that's my big long-term goal vision, is eventually have like my own sports talk show, have guests on, and that's my big picture goal right now.
Cool. So right now you're maintaining Ticket Time Carson Claws while planning for the future of the Carson Scheer Show. Super cool.
Heck yeah.
That's really exciting. And I, as a friend who's known you for a very long time, I'm super happy to see that your skill set is now meeting like your passion, and you're using both. Like sports you love. YouTube narration, like broadcasting, you love. And combining, you know, YouTube and your skill sets with that, with broadcast sports and all that, I think you're going to be very successful.
For sure. Thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy's the man, guys. Like, seriously, like Jimmy's like one of the hardest working guys. Like, he's been through so much. And yeah, literally, like Jimmy, he mentioned the boys, 5 great group of friends, and Jimmy is the guy that started it all, because if without Jimmy, we don't have that friend group. So Jimmy's the man. And
we are very lucky in that regard. We have a friend group that we've known since childhood, and we're actually getting together later today.
Heck yeah.
After this podcast, we're driving over and we're going to see everybody, and it's going to be a good time.
So, and there's a chance that you may see Jimmy again on the fantasy football draft vlog this year on the Carson Scheer Show.
Look out for that, everybody. Carson Scheer Show is going to be making it's going to be basically, you explain
it's basically, I'm still trying to figure out a way to put it together and present it, but we have this very intense competitive fantasy football league that we've been running for a while, which is kind of how we all kind of got together, was from the fantasy football league. That's kind of how we got close. Right,
because Adam, we kicked out the year before you joined. And and then that became the solidified 6. That was at the beginning of high school, probably,
somewhere around there. Like but we got this big trophy, we got a punishment, and shout out to Jalen still has to do that punishment later.
Big Jalen.
And so I'm going to try to put together some kind of vlog draft style where it's going to be documenting our draft. And I think I want to do that a yearly tradition with the boys.
Yeah.
So
awesome, man.
Yeah.
And before we wrap up, I want to transition from a few questions about, our relationship, YouTube, your background, and get into a little bit about the world at large,
nice.
the MicMe TV special. So I know I asked you, where do you see like your channels going in the next 5 to 10 years? Where do you see like yourself in the next 5 to 10 years in terms of like the country, in terms of life, in terms of like, just where you see yourself headed?
Wow. Yeah. I'm obviously hopefully gonna have a family one day. That is a goal of mine. I don't know exactly at one point in time that'll happen, but hopefully, in the next 10 years, that may or may not happen if I'm lucky enough to do that. And I think the world is the digital age right now. You're seeing it happen with the economy. You're seeing it happen with sports talk shows and podcasts and live streams. Everybody's on their smartphones, and it's a good thing, but it also scares the living hell out of me, because I feel like we're heading into a world where people are going to be afraid to socialize in person.
Do you think it can make it harder to have that family you're talking about?
I think it will, because a lot of it now is a Prince Charming, Sleeping Beauty, princess kind of fairy tale, that the way people look at relationships.
Do you mean that in terms of what like media projects, what the expectation should be?
Yeah. And I think, growing up with Disney, I think they kind of told us that, like, oh yeah, reach for the stars and, don't settle for less. But when people always compare and look at something better, it's a problem, because they lose sight of what they actually have and that they should be grateful for. So,
do you think you're able to have that perspective because you're a content creator yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I've been around the block. I've been through a couple relationships. My first real girlfriend was from YouTube. She watched my streams, and we kind of had a thing going on for a couple years, and we just basically mutually separated because of the distance. She lived in Tennessee. I was in Michigan. So yeah, I'm hoping people are also more sociable instead of constantly on their smartphones, because I fear that might be a big problem in 10, 15 years from now is everything is digital, and you're going to lose the face-to-face social interaction.
Right. And I'm going to ask this, and don't think I'm coming at you,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I've asked this to myself, and it's a big reason why I struggle with posting to YouTube, because I feel the
Sure.
same way. How do you feel having that viewpoint while also potentially contributing to the problem while
Hmm.
being a content creator?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think because there's a lot of YouTubers that I've met, and a lot of them are the same. They're on the camera, they're the same. Off the camera, they're the same. But there are a lot of other people that I've met where they turn on the camera, they act all holly and jolly, and they turn off the camera, and they are a complete asshole to you.
Interesting. So you think if you still maintain your authenticity
Yes.
when posting, it doesn't create that
Correct.
issue?
Yeah, I think as long as you are respectful on camera and off camera, and don't ever lose sight of why you got to where you are, and always go back to your roots and be thankful for what you have, and not constantly, comparison is the thief of joy. I see it all the time, and that's the motto I try to live by, because it is a real problem. Is we're breathing, I'm talking to you right now, we're sitting in my house, we just drank water, we can walk, we can talk. Like, we are very fortunate just to be able to do that, and people are always caught up in how many likes they get on an Instagram
Right.
post. It's like, does that really matter?
Yeah.
So
No, it's a phenomenal perspective to have. And I think it comes down to this idea of what you said, like comparison is the thief of joy, or this idea of like being content with what you have in the present and not feeling like you always have to put your eggs in the next thing or put all of your energy in the next thing.
mhm,
Sometimes it's okay to just enjoy what you have.
for sure.
So I could ask you a million questions about the world, philosophy, all these things. Let's do one specific one
Okay.
before we get out of here. Um, where do you see AI in 10 years impacting the claw machine community?
Wow.
How do you see AI impacting the claw machine community?
It's very scary. I mean, you go on Twitter, you go on Instagram, YouTube, you can't tell what's real and what's fake anymore without that Twitter description below it that says, this is a AI generated video. This did not happen.
Mm,
So especially with claw machine, shout out to my friend Trevor. He's got his online claw machine business right now, Claw Crazy. He transitioned into that world, and I think you're going to start to see more and more people just want to do everything digitally and virtually, and not want to go out as much. So I think AI is definitely a it can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. So
You mentioned that it's going to be harder to tell if a video is original. Do
yes.
you think that there will be AI imitators of content creators that will start posting in the future and that'll take attention off of the claw, community or the
Um,
actual posters?
yeah, it's crazy scary how you can have like a robot film, produce, edit, and shoot everything now, and they won't even give you credit. Like, it's happened to me and a couple of my other friends where people will steal our stuff and claim it as their own on their own YouTube channel, their Facebook page, their Instagrams. So it's scary because you think it's the real guy, but it's this guy that's ripping another guy off, and you can't tell the
And
difference.
do you ever copyright claim that? Because I remember one time in the early MicMe TV days, I used a mama, like a little 6-second thing. It was copyright claimed and I got demonetized. If you see your content out there being used or whatever, or being imitated by an AI, do you
Mhm.
flag it, or does it not really even matter?
Um, I'm frustrated by it, but I'm also, to me, it's kind of like free advertising, because if they see me on another person's YouTube channel and they're stealing one of my videos, like, it happens to a bunch of other big content creators. Like, it's just kind of free marketing for them. Like, they might find the original person, but sometimes it does get a little frustrating seeing somebody steal your videos and claim them as their own, because it's a very, like you said, it's a very wishy-washy territory. Because if I can steal this podcast and post it on Carson Claws, but good luck with the legal fees and all that. Is it really worth going
No, that
after?
makes complete sense,
So
because those are two different things.
yeah.
Like if somebody were to come at your video, that's a problem. But if people are just taking you and reposting it, that is a form of free advertisement. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
even though AI might imitate these popular content creators in the future.
Yeah.
You don't view that as so much a problem per se, because it's just advertising what the humans are already doing.
Yes, until you get to the point where you can like take my face or your face and you can have a robot say something horrific out of it and you can't tell. You think it's
Right.
me and Jimmy talking on this podcast, but somebody could be putting those words in our mouth through Photoshop or AI, and they can. It's crazy scary.
What a great
what
point.
AI can do now.
Yeah, because we're already not to get too dark, but we already see face swaps with like revenge porn and stuff like that. And now I think we're going to see it more and more with misinformation. Like we could be seeing fake political leader videos where they're saying things. I mean, because those already exist, but usually you can tell the difference. But what you're saying is so true. I think it'll impact like all sectors. I kind of want to talk a little bit about how we met.
Sure.
We've known each other for a super long time. We're best friends. We're part of a group of best friends named the Boys. So me, 5 other guys, me, Carson, and 4 other guys, all childhood friends. Known each other for what, like more than 10 years now.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, we try to get together every now and then, but it's great. So Carson and I are a part of that, best friends. And yeah, how did we meet?
Yeah, so the first time I ever saw Jimmy, we played basketball growing up together, and there was 2 Walled Lake teams, and I was on team A, and Jimmy was on team B. This was like, I think, gosh, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, somewhere in that neighborhood,
Big
middle
Cat
school.
Basketball.
Big Cat Basketball League, and so I knew who he was, but we never really spoke. And then high school, we had a class together. It was gym, I think, or some kind of sports class. It was like a gym class. Yep. And then another buddy of ours, we kind of like introduced Reed Schroeder.
Reed,
yeah, Reed's awesome. So he and I, you know, we kind of brought each other together, and then Jimmy started, you know, learning about what I did on YouTube at the time, and Jimmy's like, okay, that's cool. I want to start my own YouTube channel, and then.
And because it's funny, at the time, you didn't go by Carson Claws.
No.
Because we had gym class together, I think it was freshman year. And was it sophomore year?
Freshman or sophomore year.
So it must have been sophomore year we had this history class, because that's when we really started to dive into YouTube and all that. So Carson and I were friends for a while based on this Big Cat Basketball League. That was the summer of middle school. So knew each other, you know, for a year vaguely or whatever, knew of each other. Yeah. Started to be really good friends in Penrod's class because of like Gorski and Reed and all them.
Right. Yeah.
Shout out Gorski if you're listening. I think we hit all the fun topics. We're gonna go hang out with the boys.
Heck yeah.
And enjoy the rest of our day.
Dude, Jimmy, thank you so much for having me on your show, man. It's been an honor being your first guest on the MicMe TV podcast.
Oh, this is awesome. And I'm sure that we will have you back again.
I'm down anytime,
buddy. Thank you
so
much for coming. Carson Claws, the man, the myth, the legend. There he is, everybody in the flesh. Peace out.
See you guys. Heck yeah, dude.
Dude, that was fucking awesome.
That was awesome.
That was fucking awesome, bro. You kicked ass.
So did you, Chief.